Yeah, and it's lashing rain here and the skies are grey. So we are looking forward to listening to you talk about Feng Shui and your life in Bali and what you've been practicing for the past number of years and about your training. I'm so excited to meet you. So in saying that, I'm going to let you go and just talk about Feng Shui and the basics. I hope everybody enjoys it, and thank you for joining us at Inside Out.
My name is Patricia. I'm from the west coast of Ireland, and I've been teaching Feng Shui for several years now here in Bali. But I actually got my very first book about Feng Shui when I was 15. So there's a lot of people here from all over Ireland and hopefully internationally listening. And I got my first book when I was 15 because we moved house like 22 times. So my parents loved moving to new houses, upgrading, changing, tweaking. So that has always been actually part of my life, and I've kind of continued to do it now. But with the joy of doing that, I think at that era, at that time, was the first time I got my own bedroom, heard about Feng Shui and asked for books about it. And this is where I started being interested in, and I took it on and I was like, wow, this is amazing, this information. And then it just got a bit confusing. There's like a line between they're like, oh my God, like, wow, the opportunities for using Feng Shui. And then there's this quick line of like, God, it gets a bit complicated now and I have to get a compass and a floor plan and figure out all this stuff. And I was the same. Now, I haven't been using Feng Shui since I was 15 all the time. I went back into a very traditional world, studied business and marketing, and ended up quitting my job in my late 20s and moving to India to become a yoga teacher. Now, what does this all have to do with it and becoming a holistic therapist? Well, that's how I ended up really diving into Feng Shui, because it wasn't to think I'd be here teaching about Feng Shui. I never ever imagined that I would be like teaching Feng Shui ever. Everything I ever learned was just from a personal interest and personal passion. And when I started seeing results, obviously, in my life, and the very first like major results for me was I moved to Dublin, and I had moved into my first new apartment on my own in this new city. And I said to my flatmate, I am not leaving here until I'm moving in with my future husband. And she held laughing at me. She was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, right. Like, whatever. But I then remembered Feng Shui, and I started doing all the things around my home to Feng Shui my apartment for love and to call in my future husband. And it worked. Very soon afterwards, I actually met my husband, Ken, and ironically, he lives up in his houses in the Dublin Mountains, and when I got up to visit there, I'm walking around and I'm like, he's Feng Shui this place. So he had actually been into it in his 20s. So there's a real synergy in terms of us and this passion for it, and we both dived into it together. So we both practice and teach it together in our online programs. That's where it started. It was like people asking me, like, how did you meet Ken? And once this unfolded, my practice was working with people releasing trauma and anxiety and helping them have more calm in their lives. And that was what my business was. And I had a very successful business. I wasn't looking for a new business or a new outlet to teach or to work with. But all of a sudden, my clients, I would start working with them, start saying, tell me about your bedroom. How long in your sitting room? How long have you lived in your house? And what I realized was they were doing all this incredible personal development work, this diving in and the inside, like clearing stuff, like letting go of their past, doing absolutely phenomenal work on their person. But they were going home to a house that was bad for money, or that was sabotaging their relationship, or was blocking the flow of what it is that they wanted in their life. Because you have the most powerful resource over your head. You're sitting in it. You have the keys to it. It's under your toes. This physical environment that you have right now, when you start working with the energy of Feng Shui and the practice of Feng Shui, it can really support you to co-create what it is that you want in your life. And that is the absolute magic of this practice. So next step was my clients started saying, hey, come do some Feng Shui. And that's when I dived in and started diving deeper to learn it and really do it like I do now with my clients. Because it isn't actually about moving furniture, as I said, or knocking walls. It is actually acupuncture for your home. I am an energy worker for someone's home. I don't care if you have furniture in your house or not. I don't care if your house is interior designed or not. I have worked on mansions around the world that are the most beautifully interior designed, architecturally planned houses that are bad feng shui. And there's nothing to do with the design or the interior or the paint or, you know, the furniture. That's not anything that's actually impacting people's lives at all. So I'll talk more about that in a bit. But then all of a sudden, more people started wanting feng shui advice from me, and that was amazing. But we did it in our house, and that's when the big thing unfolded for us, because we had a huge windfall of money once we implemented in our lives, like what I teach now. And then everyone was like, "How did you get the new car?" So just putting this in perspective, I was probably about a year earlier cycling around Dublin, maybe teaching yoga class, earning €5 for my yoga class, like doing my sessions, like therapy sessions. I very much was not in an abundant place to afford a car, buy, like have insurance or tax or anything, let alone be able to pay for driveways and paintings and furniture and all those things that ended up flowing into our lives and into our house. And that was obviously a big, like, what's just happened in your life? And I'm like, well, it's called feng shui. And everyone wanted a little bit of it. And I was like, oh, I can do it for your house. So we ended up moving to Bali because we just wanted to travel and do more of that. And that's when we got here, and I started working with people online virtually. And we have an online program where we teach people how to feng shui their own homes, because it's really about working with the energy of your home. But we kind of work, like the book is kind of when you get into the book, there's a bit of a line of like complicated, all of that. I do all of that for my clients. So I'm like, you just send me the photos, send me the information, I'll do all the work and tell you this is what you need to do. Now, when it comes to feng shui, most people come to me when they are stuck in their lives. It's almost like, for me, it's a bit like the final resort, like the last resort. You know, I've had people who are on the verge of losing their homes, on the verge of divorce, on the verge of, you know, their family are fighting all the time. They've plenty of money, but there's just so much drama. You know, like every time you go in, you just feel this certain burden on your life, and you're like, what is going on? Like, or, you know, I hear one client saying like, oh, I remember her saying like, you know, when me and my husband are off on our holidays with our kids or outside of our house, we're fine. We come inside, it is like a war zone. Like, that is a red flag that the feng shui is off. And it doesn't matter where your bed is positioned. That's not going to be impacting it. It's a bigger picture energy work, what we're working with. Now, when we think about feng shui, maybe think, oh, is this something for like, you know, woo-woo people? And I hate woo-woo because feng shui is 5,000 years old. This is an ancient practice. This isn't something to be kind of like faffed at and snuffed at. And if you are like that, probably don't stay here. It's not the right call for you. But what I can say to you is that every Whole Foods across America has been feng shuied. All Disneys are feng shuied. Sheraton hotels, Banks of America, Hyundai cars, Morgan Stanley, you know, oh my God, the whole of Hong Kong is feng shuied. They use it like it's engineering, like if there's something wrong with their house, or something going on with their life, they'll call in a feng shui consultant, as you would if you had a structural issue, you call an engineer. That's how it's being used. Now, all those companies, and Richard Branson, Oprah, Steven Spielberg, all of them use this. They're not going to use it just for, oh, that should be lovely. Oh, it'll make my house feel nice. Or I can show off I feng shuied my house. It's not about that. They're talking about bottom line, money and health and the good stuff, making sure the good things flow in your life, and making sure that your house is lined up and supporting with what you want, because it is either attracting what you want or repelling it. Now, fundamentally, like the name feng shui and the word feng shui, like what does that actually mean? So feng shui means, when we kind of bring it down to it, it means good health. So essentially, it's about making sure that your home is supporting you and everybody in it to be healthy. The other thing was good harvest. As I said, feng shui is a 5,000-year-old practice. And as a 5,000-year-old practice, back 5,000 years ago, people made their money, their wealth came from their harvest as farmers. So that is it. It's basically for good health and good wealth. And when we have that, we ultimately are able to unfold and grow and be in alignment. Now, along with the idea of feng shui being acupuncture for your home, what we're really doing when it comes to feng shui is, I want you to just imagine you are in the most beautiful place in nature. So first, instantly I just come to like Glendalough, or, you know, you're down by the beach, in a beautiful beach, and you're just like in this space of like, God, it feels so good to be in this place in nature. Like, you feel so good, you feel so connected, you feel so aligned. That is what we're bringing, that energy from nature into the house. So you may have seen like the idea of yin and yang, and that's it. We're bringing this place of total harmony and energetic balance of nature into the home. Energy feels like this real fluffy word. Like, what is energy anyways? Like energy, what I like to think about energy is like energy is money. It's clients, it's opportunities, it is, you know, like pay rises, new jobs, like happy children, awards, like all those things. That's what feng shui, what energy is. It's not like this fluffy thing that's like not tangible. It's actual life. And it's about bringing life into the positive life, the what you want into your life. And unfortunately, houses are now, you know, if you think back, like, you know, we know even just in the housing booms in Ireland, there's like a big plot of land, they plague up all these houses. There's just like no consideration of like, wow, I wonder, like, and this is what was done in ancient times, was like, you know, they looked at like the setup of the land around it. Was the land going to support it, the form of it? Now it's just like all these houses put up and they haven't been analyzed to be like, well, is this one going to be supportive for the people in it? And unfortunately, they're not. A lot of them are not. And when we look at house types, there's 4 different ones. I'm not going to go into that today, but what I wanted to say is that, like, no matter what kind of house you're living in, because some people may be like, oh, well, feng shui is just for like really rich people who have huge houses. I have worked on studio apartments that literally you can hardly swing a cat on in New York, to big mansions, to terraces in central Dublin, like you name it, to houses out in the countryside. So wherever you live and whatever kind of apartment or house, it's relevant for all spaces. Like it really is relevant for all spaces. And I've never told anyone you need to move house. I've never told anyone to knock any walls or get rid of everything. And it isn't about hanging like weird frogs and weird things around your house. Like that's not my thing. What for me is the most important thing about feng shui is that you walk into your house and you feel good, you sleep well, everyone's happy, everyone's healthy, and there's a sense of flow. You wake up going, oh, I'm happy to be here and things are flowing in my life. That's what it's about. And it doesn't mean that your house has to aesthetically look any different, which is also a bonus because it's not about like painting walls or anything crazy like that. So Adele had asked a bit about like talking about the very first thing you can do when it starts with feng shui. So I hope, first of all, like I've kind of demystified it and it doesn't sound as scary as it actually kind of is. Now, where I started was people asking me what did I do to feng shui my bedroom for love? And you'll see here, one of the things that is really important is that the bed is up against a wall. So it's not ideal to have like a window behind your bed. It's just not a stable, solid background. Like you want something solid behind you. And I love this bed because it is a nice, solid wooden headboard. Ideally, beds are made from wood. If you have a metal bed, you're not doomed for life. If your bed cannot be positioned in this position with the headboard to the back of the wall and you can see the door, you're also not doomed for life. Like, so I just want you to bring into mind that like sometimes we can feel like, oh my God, I can't do that, so it's like my feng shui is doomed. It's not like that at all. There's always something we can do to kind of counteract it. But best case scenario is that you're lying in your bed and you can see the door, and I kind of over a little bit so it's not coming straight at you. But if you are lying in your bed and the door happens to be behind you. So that's the case in our house in Ireland. The bedroom is just designed with a bed to go in one place. It would be crazy if it went anywhere else. So what we have at the end of our bed, at the very bottom, I have like a beautiful chest of drawers, and on that chest of drawers I have a small mirror, just a small little mirror. So when I'm lying in bed, I can see the door. I can see what's coming in, and I'm not sent in like this kind of little bit of fight or flight mode, like I can't see the door. You know, that's just a natural instinct of not being able, if we can't see the door, that to be kind of a little bit like fearful, and that's going to disrupt your sleep. Next thing that it comes to is in your bedroom is is balance and harmony. So there's 3 words that I want you to connect with when it comes to your bedroom: rest, romance, relaxation. Rest, romance, relaxation. I want you to like ingrain it in your brain, and I want you to go into your bedroom after this and look at it and go, does this represent rest, romance, and relaxation? Because if it doesn't, it is impacting your sleep. Bedside tables beside the bed, so that's about balance and harmony. 2 lockers, creating support on both sides, and then clearing under the bed. So lots of beds have this like under storage space, and I'm just like, oh my God, like the things I have found under people's beds, including divorce papers, broken computers, anything that's like just discarded, letters from love letters from 15-year-old boyfriends that have now like passed on, like weird, crazy things under the bed. And I would just recommend clearing it all out. You are sleeping on it. It is impacting your dreams, your sleep, and everything. So when you clear it out, you will sleep better. So making sure that's nice and clear, because that can affect the emotions and affect your dreams and energy really, really big. The next thing you'll notice about this room, there's no artwork above the bed. And we don't recommend artwork above the bed because, again, it could be just like, it's not like, oh God, that could fall sometime on my head and hurt my head. Like you could imagine asleep and the nail breaks, you know, and it may be like, that would never happen. It has happened. And people have got big frights in the middle of the night. And that's going to impact your energy. So making sure you don't have anything over the bed. If you are in a relationship, make sure you have a piece of art, or try and have a piece of a picture of you and your partner that was on a very happy day. Like, so a really beautiful picture that resonates very positively with you and your relationship. That's a really great thing to do. Now, what not to have in your bedroom is pictures of your parents, your spiritual gurus like Mary, Jesus, Buddha, your children, anything, or your grandparents, like any of that. You don't want their pictures in your bedroom. Really giving yourself an opportunity to clear out anything that is not related to you and your partner in your bedroom is really important. Now, that goes for things like workbooks, like work paperwork. Again, I'm a big fan of not having your phone in your bedroom. So like get yourself like a proper alarm clock. Your mobile phone, a lot of us, like me, I literally work from my phone like all the time. So my phone is plugged in out in the sitting room, not in the bedroom. Because if it is in the bedroom, and even just think, first of all, it's like the Wi-Fi, the signals, the EMFs, all of that for your phone, it's not going to be positively affecting your sleep and your energy. But the other thing is, like if you have your phone beside you in bed, who are you sleeping with? Three's company. You know, so really give yourself an opportunity to like make this space a sanctuary. Okay, if you can exercise bike in your bedroom, put like a little shawl over it, like put a scarf over it. So when you're not like using it, it's just kind of covered and out of sight, kind of out of mind. Same goes for the TV. The reflective surface in the bedroom is not ideal. So we don't want like a television like reflecting us in the bed, like reflecting us. And also like there's so much stuff and energy coming into the television, that's again going to be affecting your sleep. So you can either get like the cupboards that close them in, or just put a little scarf over it at nighttime, and it will make a difference to your energy and your sleep. This is a beautiful setup for an office, and some of us are lucky enough to have our own office space and others are not. One of the big things is making sure that you have a good solid chair. So I love my peacock chair here in Bali, but having a good solid chair will make a huge difference because you'll feel more supported. It's the same as the bed and the headboard. Your desk could be like jammed up against a wall, and if it is pushed up against the wall, it can be a sense of, or even in a cornered in, that sense of feeling cornered in. So again, with the desk, a nice solid wooden desk, ideally solid chair, so you're not like feeling rocky, you're not feeling uncertain, you're feeling grounded. And then again, your office needs to be with the things that are connected with your work. So no children's toys, no suitcases, no exercise equipment, no husband's random stuff that's hanging around, you know, like that really needs to become the space for you. So I always invite my clients to think about, when we're working on their home office, is to imagine that you had customers coming to you to sit in your office with you. It would be very different. You would want it set up. You would want to be giving off a very, very, very different energy. You would want them to be like, how would your office represent you? Like, that's so different to probably what it is right now. So that even just that change of shift being like, yeah, because you will become more creative, more productive, and more just like in alignment with your business if it actually represents and mirrors what you are putting out into the public.
Thank you so much. Your passion really shines through. I am going to ask you one question. If you could give your 20-year-old self advice, what would that be?
Chill out.
Okay, good advice. Yeah.
You know, just chill out. My 15-year-old self knew that Feng Shui was my thing. So if I hadn't kind of kept following the freaking posse, following everyone else, I probably would have got there faster.
It has been amazing, and thank you so much for joining us on Insight.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate it, and I wish you all the best in Bali and wherever else you end up. And
thank
we
you
will talk to
so
you
much.
again sometime soon.
Yeah.